one other story when I was looking over things, and this isn't a good story, because one thing that I did want to really highlight last year was the relative safety of the sport overall. Now, again, it's not going to be zeros. It's very unfortunate, but we're not going to see zeros in the fatality columns and things like that. But if you look at 2023, I felt like every time we started this podcast before we dove into anything, we had to make reference to something that happened the weekends before. And it was honestly, it was a little tough for every single, just seeing it, and then knowing, okay, we're going to have to talk about it on Thursday just because, we have to. Last year, I don't think we talked about it. And again, it's mainly because some of the bigger tracks had really, really good records, and even the smaller tracks. Again, I looked and the numbers were way down. But one thing I did see, and this is this year, still looking pretty good. Didn't see any crazy stuff except for this one. And it is coming out of Elko Fairgrounds, which is in Nevada, which I didn't even know. I don't even know if that is what type of meat that is or anything like that. I don't know if it's harness, quarters, I'm not sure. But a really, really disgusting story coming out of there. Apparently one of the horses was given cocaine, and not like a horse equivalent. I'm talking the Colombian stuff. And the punishment is obviously the trainer's been stripped of his license, which obviously, but the fine is $5,000, which I now the article did say that there could be more punishments coming down, but I mean, if the baseline for, I hate to kind of even smile at this, but it's a ridiculous story. It seems like a Saturday Night Live skit or something that animal rights activists would, blow up out of proportion, because I have seen it sometimes to where we go back to I believe it was Jason Service, that whole fiasco, and the drugs he was giving to the horses were considered similar to cocaine for horses, but we're not talking about like the actual product. It's just disgusting. And even more so if there is no harsher penalty. And I don't even want the harsher penalty to be like, and to make sure no one else does it, because again, I have a lot of faith in a lot of these horse people, and even some of the worst I don't think would be that bad.
That guy should go down.
He needs to be in jail. Like that's like giving cocaine to a child. I mean, the horse doesn't know any better, and then obviously the horse wants more. It's what happens. It's it's very, very frustrating to see that. And again, the article did make reference to the fact that more punishment could be coming and should. But yeah, that was the one thing that I did. But again, I think overall we're only 4 months in. We don't really, or thankfully, have those numbers that we did see in 2023, and hopefully we continue to go into the summer of that. But I don't know if you want to add any thoughts to that, Raider Jim.
No, just you were. I was thinking that myself today. Churchill had a real bad outing with the Derby, and even a couple weeks after that. I don't remember if it was last year or if it was 23. And thankfully, I've heard nothing out of Churchill Downs. Everything seems to be good. They've got things under control. So I just hope it keeps running safe over there. I know Santa Anita has had a real good season
Yeah.
so far this year since they started back in December, and they're still running. But yeah, so let's just keep our fingers crossed that continues to be the rule and not the exception.
Amen. Yeah, and and I do think it was 2023, because I think that was the Derby and they only had 18 horses running. Yeah, it was just a really bad track, and but I do remember that 2023 year. It seemed like I vividly remember you watching a race that I didn't get to see, and you seeing it and saying how terrible it was. I believe that was the Safi Joseph horse, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. And then the next week, the roles were reversed for us. You weren't able to see the race. I did. I don't quite remember on the horse there, but it's really, really tough to see it. And of course, I think sometimes when people hear horse racing, we think that these animals are just vessels for our financial gain. But I think most people really do love these animals, and especially the ones that interact with them on a day-to-day basis. So hopefully we can keep that rolling.